It was really an amazing sight, and in 2 or 3 minutes people came pouring out of the shelters and the subways to dip at the marvel. The streets for half a mile around the building were jammed with people, and when the word spread that there were actually living things moving about on the top of the great round ball, then everyone went wild with excitement. "It's a flying saucer," they shouted. "They are from outer space. They are aliens from Mars. Or maybe they came from the moon." And a man who had a pair of binoculars to his eyes said, "They look pretty peculiar to me, I'll tell you that." Police cars and fire engines came streaming in from all over the city and pulled up outside the Empire State Building. 200 firefighters and 600 police officers swarmed into the building and went up in an elevator as high as they could go. Then they poured out onto the observation room, which is the place where tourists stand. Just at the bottom of the big spike, all the police officers were holding their guns at the ready with their fingers on the triggers, and the firefighters were clutching their hatchets. But from where they stood, almost directly underneath the pitch, they couldn't actually see the travelers up on top. "Ahoy there!" shouted the police chief. "Come out and show yourselves." Suddenly the great brown head of the centipede appeared over the side of the pitch, his black eyes as large and round as two marbles glared down at the police officers and the firefighters below. Then his monstrous ugly face broke into a wide grin. The police officers and the firefighters all started shouting at once. "Look out," they cried. "It's a dragon." "It's not a dragon, it's a wampus." "It's a gorgon." "It's a sea serpent." "It's a proc." "It's a manticore." 3 firefighters and 5 police officers fainted and had to be carried away. "It's a snow wanderer," cried the chief of the police. "It's a wangdoodle," yelled the head of the fire department. The centipede kept on grinning. He seemed to be enjoying enormously the commotion that he was casting. "Now see here," shouted the chief of police. "You listen to me. I want you to tell me exactly where you've come from." "We've come from thousands of miles away," the centipede shouted back, grinning more broadly than ever and showing his brown teeth. "There you are," cried the chief of police. "I told you they come from Mars." "I guess you're right," said the head of the fire department. At this point, the old green grasshopper poked his huge green head over the side of the pitch alongside the centipedes. 6 more people fainted when they saw him. "That one's an oink," screamed the head of the fire department. "I just know it's an oink. Or a cockatrice," yelled the chief of police. "Stand by, everyone. It may jump down on us any moment." "What on earth are they talking about?" the old green grasshopper said to the centipede. "Search me," the centipede answered, "but they seem to be an awful stew about something." Then Miss Spider's large, murderous-looking head, which to a stranger was probably the most terrifying of all, appeared next to the grasshoppers. "Snakes and ladders," yelled the head of the fire department. "We are finished now. It's giant scrofula." "It's worse than that," cried the chief of police. is a Vermicious need. Oh, just look at his Vermicious gruesome face. Is that the kind that eats grown-ups for breakfast? The head of the fire department asked, looking terrified. I'm afraid it is, the chief of police answered. Oh please, why doesn't anyone help us get down from here? Miss Spider called out. It's making me giddy. This could be a trick, said the head of the fire department. Don't anyone make a move until I say. They've probably got space dance, muttered the chief of police. But we've got to do something, the head of the fire department announced grimly. About 5 million people are standing down there on the streets watching us. Then why don't you put up a ladder? The chief of police asked. I'll stand at the bottom and hold it ready for you while you go up and see what's happening. Thanks very much, snapped the head of the fire department. Soon there were no less than 7 large fantastic beasts peering down over the side of the pitch. The centipedes, the old green grasshoppers, Miss Spiders, the earthworms, the ladybirds, the silkworms, and the glowing worms. And a sort of panic was beginning to break out among the firefighters and the police officers on the rooftop. Then all at once the panic stopped and a great gasp of astonishment went up all around. For now a small boy was seen to be standing up there beside the other creatures. His hair was blowing in the wind, and he was laughing and waving and calling out, Hello everybody, hello. For a few moments the people below just stood and stared and gaped. They simply couldn't believe their eyes. Bless my soul, cried the head of the fire department. It really is a little boy, isn't it? Don't be frightened of us, please, James called out. We are so glad to be here. What about those others beside you? Shouted the chief of police. Are any of them dangerous? Of course they are not dangerous, James answered. They are the nicest creatures in the world. Allow me to introduce them to you one by one, and then I'm sure you will believe me. My friends, this is the centipede, and let me make it known. He is so sweet and gentle that although he is overgrown, the Queen of Spain again and again has summoned him by phone to babysit and sing and knit and be a chaperone. When nurse is off and all the royal children are alone. Small wonder, said the firefighter. They are no longer on the throne. The earthworm, on the other hand, said James, beginning to expand, is great for digging up a land and making old soils newer. Moreover, you should understand, he would be absolutely grand for digging subway tunnels and making you a sewer. The earthworm turned and beamed with pride. Miss Spider clapped and cheered and cried. Could any words be truer? And the grasshopper, one and all, is a boon in a millions and millions of ways. You have only to ask him to give you a tune, and he plays and he plays and he plays. As a toy for your children he is perfectly sweet. There is nothing so good in the shops. You've only to tickle the sole of his feet, and he hops and he hops and he hops. He can be very fierce, exclaims the head of the corps. And now, without excuse, I'd like to introduce this charming glowworm, lover of simplicity. She is easy to install on your ceiling or on your wall. Although this smacks a bit of eccentricity, It's really rather clever, for thereafter you would never, never have a slightest need for using electricity, at which no less than 52 police cried out. If this is true, that creature would get a fabulous publicity. And here we have Miss Spider, with a smile of threat inside her, who was personally requested me to say that she's never met Miss Muffet on her charming little tuffet. If she not had frightened her away, should her look sometimes alarm you, then I don't think it would harm you. To repeat at least 100 times a day, I must never kill a spider. I must only help and guide her, and invite her in the nursery to play. The police all nodded slightly, and the firefighters smiled politely, and about a dozen people cried hooray. And here's my darling ladybird, so beautiful and so kind. My greatest comfort since this trip began. She has 400 children, and she left them all behind. But they are coming on the next speech if they can. The cops cried, she's entrancing. Or the firefighters started dancing, and the crowds all started cheering to a man. And now the silkworm, James went on, whose silk will bear comparison with all the greater silks that there are in Rome and Philadelphia. You would search the whole world through from Paraguay to Timbuktu. I don't think you would find one bit of silk that could compare with. Even the shops in Singapore don't have the stuff. And what is more, the silkworm had, I have you now, the honor not so long ago to spin that and weave and sew and press the Queen of England's wedding dress, and she's already made and sent a waistcoat for your president. Well, good for her, the cops cried out, and all at once a mighty shout went up around the Empire State. Let's get them down at once. Why wait?